All right, guys, there you go. So I finished off with cross multiplying, and I don't mind if you need to show an extra step there. This is starting to get a little cramped for all that work, so I shortcutted it up. The next page, we got plenty of room. You would have b times the sine of 39, and you would have 14 times the sine of 98. So I left the 14 times sine of 98 together, and to get b by itself, I would divide by the sine of 39, and I got 22 for side b. And then we needed to get side a, so started with the same pair, sine of 39 over 14, and that ended up being equal to the sine of 43 over a. So I would have a times the sine of 39 and 14 times the sine of 43. So I got a is these two times each other, 14 sine of 43 divided by sine of 39, and side a is 15.2. So look at that. I have solved two triangles. They are not right triangles by using our brand new fantastic law of sines. I got one more problem for you and you're done for the day. Let's look back here. What was I given? I was given an angle, and I was given this side over here. So let me just kind of point them out. I was given an angle, and I was given this side. So that went angle, side, angle. That's the kind of triangle I just had. So if I'm given information in the order angle, side, angle, I can solve it using the law of sines. Okay, let's go to the third page. This is different. Focus up, people. This is different. Here we go. I'm going to give you angle A is equal to 58 degrees. I'm going to give you side A is equal to 14.5, and I'm going to give you side B is equal to 12.8. How is this different? I didn't give you two angles so that you could subtract them from 180 and just find the third angle. Now you got to do some work. So let's go look at what we got here. 58 degrees. That's good. Side A is 14.5. So at least I know I'm going to put sine of 58 over 14.5. At least I have that. But then side B is 12.8. I got nothing about angle C or side C. It's pretty clear that I need to find this one. And if I find this one, I can subtract it from 180 and get that one. And if I have that one, I can use the law of sines and get that one. That's got to be my first spot right there, angle B. True? True. True. Okay, so let me draw a triangle here for you. I can draw it a little bigger than the other ones. There's an A, there's a B, there's a C, little a, little b, and little c. I was given angle A, I was given side A, and I was given side B. If I go around the triangle, a normal, decent, professional teacher will call that side angle. But you didn't take a normal teacher's class. This is angle side. That's an ass triangle. We're going to find out that the angle side triangles are difficult. And tomorrow's notes, or whenever we take these notes, I think we got a long weekend coming up, we will have to recognize that we have an angle side triangle. These letters should be a pretty good indication to you. Oh, hey, look, it's an ass triangle. You're going to find out in the next set of notes that can be a very difficult situation. This one's nice and easy, though. It's very straightforward, so we're just going to solve it like we've been solving it. But I wanted you to see this because we do have to do something different. Okay, so I'm going to write a little bigger just in case what I was doing was kind of small for you to see. It's very clear that I need to write the sine of 58 over 14.5, and that has to be equal to the sine of angle B, which I do not know, over 12.8. And as luck would have it, I believe my pen is about to run out of ink. Now, look what I had to do. That's the first time we've done that. And the other two we had all the angles the whole time. I don't have an angle this time. I have two sides. I'm now missing an angle. Every time you do this, you're going to have three parts, and you're going to be looking for a missing part. This is the first time we're looking for a missing angle. So look, I'm going to do the cross multiplying. I'm not going to skip any steps here. So it goes 14.5 times the sine of angle B has to be equal to 12.8 times the sine of 58. That's got to be true. I'm going to switch out pens here because I think that's getting lighter. Now, I want B, but I have the sine of B. So that's just a number. I could put it in the calculator and get a decimal right now, but I don't want to because I'm also going to divide. I don't want to put this in the calculator and round it and then divide it and take a rounded number and make it even more off of what the true answer is, right? That's taking an error and compounding it. That's really what that would be doing. So I'm going to divide by 14.5 on both sides, and I want you to see what happens. I mean, that's the same thing we were doing earlier, but we were dividing by something else. Okay, so I get the sine of angle B is equal to 12.8 times the sine of 58, and it's all over 14.5. Now I could put that in the calculator and get a decimal. I could. And it'll definitely be less than 1. All right? But I don't want the sine of b. I actually want angle b. So do you remember from last chapter solving trigonometric equations, what do you do when you have the sine of an angle, but what you actually want is just the angle? You take the inverse sine, don't you? You take the inverse sine. So b will be the inverse sine of all of this mess typed into the calculator. Now, if you're afraid of putting all this in the calculator, you can turn it into a decimal first if you really want to. But if you're brave, I mean, if you're a brave pre-calculus student, here we go. By the way, all of this is in degrees, so I should have said this before. Make sure you're in degree mode. It's a little late to tell you that now in case you're frustrated with why your calculator was giving you the wrong answers. Yeah, we're going to do all of this stuff in degrees. There will be no radians for this hot mess. So I already told you it was going to be easier this chapter. Here we go. Second and the sine button to get inverse sine. I'm going to type it in like it looks, guys. 12.8. And I don't even need a times button. I'll hit the sine of 58. Now it opened parentheses, so I'm going to close the parentheses there. That closed the parentheses on the 58, but not on the inverse sine. So I'm going to divide now by 14.5 and then close the parentheses for the inverse sine. So I've got the inverse sine, parentheses opened by the calculator, not me. 12.8, sine of 58, close the parentheses for sine, divided by 14.5. This whole expression needs to be in the parentheses. I hit enter, I get an angle, 48.5 degrees. We just found out that angle B is worth 48.5 degrees. So when you have an angle side-side triangle, in the first place, the reason that this can be more difficult is you only got one angle. You're going to have to do an inverse trig function to find an angle. All right, the rest of it is like the other ones. Okay, angle C will just be equal to 180 minus the 48.5 I just found minus the 58. And so when I subtract those, I get 73.5 degrees. Angle C is 73.5. And then side C, okay, I'll put a little box around that because I prefer to keep my work compartmentalized, if you will. I'm going to go with the ones that I was given, the sine of 58 over 14.5. I'll go back to where I started, and this time I'm looking for side C. So I'm going to go with the sine of 73.5 over side C. I'm going to cross multiply here, and then I want C by itself. So I will get C equals 14.5 times the sine of 73.5, and it'll end up getting divided by the sine of 58. And so I have put all that in the calculator earlier today, and I got 16.4. So there you go. Now, if you guys don't like this, let me show it to you one more time, okay? Like, this is my work, but I'm just going to show you the cross multiplying just in case that I'm skipping this step and it's bothering you. I would get C times the sine of 58, and it would equal 14.5 times the sine of 73.5. And every time I do this, I'm going to want to get that C by itself, right? So I'm going to divide by the sine of 58, and I get C equals 14.5 times the sine of 73.5, and it's divided by 58. And that's what I ended up with there. So I'm just skipping this step because you and I have cross-multiplied to solve proportions forever. And it's the case that the variable that's by itself is the one we're going to isolate. So those two will stay multiplied like they do, and I'll end up dividing by this guy. So there's a step you can skip while solving triangles with the law of sines. All right, guys, I'm going to put very straight up solve the triangle problems on my math lab for you. And then in the next section, 8.2, day 2, we're going to find out that this ass triangle can be very, very tricky. It's possible that when you get these three pieces of information, there's not just one triangle you can make out of it, there's a couple of them. And you're going to have to figure out, given the nature of the kind of numbers you got from the ass triangle, do I just have one answer, or do I have two sets of answers for two possible triangles? I'll leave you to think about how that's even possible. What you're probably going to do is ignore that question and just go do your homework. So I'm going to point as if I wrote homework down right there, and I'm going to go put it on my math lab. So have a good day, everybody.